I always thought my family was simple. Not perfect, but simple. Two parents, one child, a quiet house and a quiet neighborhood. My dad worked long hours, my mom stayed home, and I grew up believing we were exactly what we looked like. Normal. Sometimes too normal. My dad wasn't the affectionate type. He wasn't cruel, just distant. A man of routines. Same breakfast, same schedule, same jokes said in the same tone every Sunday at lunch. He lived like he was following some invisible manual. But none of that prepared me for the message I received 3 months ago. A message that rewired my entire childhood in a single sentence. It was 11:17 p.m. A random Instagram request. A guy named Evan. His message said, "Hey, I think we need to talk. I believe we share the same father." At first, I laughed. Literally laughed. Thought it was a scam. I even replied, "Wrong person." But he sent another message. This time, there was a photo. It was a man standing next to a teenage boy. The man was my dad. Same face, same glasses, same arm around the shoulder pose he never once gave me while I was growing up. My throat closed instantly. I asked who he was. He said he was 20 years old. I was 22. His mom had been in a relationship with my dad for many years. He had no idea Dad was married. Then he typed something that made my blood run cold. He said he didn't have another son, but we looked too similar for this to be coincidence. He wasn't wrong. The resemblance was painful. Jawline, eyebrows, even the awkward posture. I didn't reply. I closed the app and stared at my wall for a long time, trying to breathe normally. Everything inside me kept saying, "No, no, no." My dad wasn't perfect, but he was predictable, boring, ordinary. The kind of man who falls asleep during documentaries and refuses to try new food. Not the kind of man who lived a double life. At least that's what I believed. The next morning, I woke up hoping the message would feel like a dream. It didn't. I checked the photo again. Same man, same eyes, same father. I didn't want to confront him, not yet. I wanted answers that weren't filtered by lies. So I messaged Evan back. "Tell me everything." And he did. His mom met my dad at a conference 21 years ago. Dad told her he was divorced and starting over. They began a relationship. Not casual, not short. A relationship. For 2 whole decades, my dad maintained 2 lives, alternating between us like some masterful actor who never broke character. He spent half of his business trips at their house. Half of his weekends, working late, were actually dinners with them. Half of his family emergencies were theirs. Evan said he never suspected anything until recently, when his mom started acting strange each time Dad left for work. One night, Evan overheard a fight between Dad and his mom. "Are you ever going to tell her?" "Her? Me? My mom? Someone else?" His mom cried, said she deserved the truth. Dad refused, said the timing isn't right. That night, Evan checked Dad's phone while he was in the bathroom. He saw my mother's contact saved as office. He saw pictures of me in Dad's gallery. School events, birthdays, pictures he never posted, pictures he apparently showed them. He confronted his mom. She broke down and told the truth.
Dad had a family. A whole other family. Us. Evan said he messaged me because he needed answers too. Because suddenly Dad had stopped visiting them. He disappeared. Blocked their numbers. The last thing Dad told them was, "I need space." And then he vanished. That was the week he started acting strange at home. More quiet, more tense, more snappy. Mom asked if everything was okay. He said work was stressful. But he wasn't stressed. He was running. My world unravels. For 2 weeks, I carried the secret alone. I studied my dad's face every day, searching for signs. Guilt, shame, cracks in the mask? Nothing. He still drank coffee at 7, still mowed the lawn at 6, still fell asleep on the couch by 10. How do you look at someone who lied for 22 years and still looks so normal? Every memory I had of him felt contaminated. Every birthday, every joke, every car ride, every quiet dinner, fake. I felt like someone replaced my entire childhood with a wax replica. Finally, one night I broke. We were having dinner. Mom made pasta. Dad talked about a new project at work. I put my fork down and asked, "Dad, how many kids do you have?" He froze. The color drained from his face like someone pulled a plug. He said, quietly, "What?" "Don't lie," I said. "Not right now." Mom looked confused, glancing between us. Dad swallowed hard, his throat visibly tightening. Then he did something I never expected. He stood up and walked to the window. He didn't deny it. He didn't shout. He didn't even try to pretend. He simply said, "Who told you?" Mom's fork clattered onto her plate. I told him everything, about Evan, about the photo, about the messages. Mom started crying immediately. Not soft tears, harsh, painful sobbing that pulled something apart in the air. Dad covered his face with his hands. Mom kept screaming, "How long? How long?" Dad whispered, 21 years. She collapsed onto the chair. I thought I would feel anger in that moment, rage, fury, betrayal. But I didn't. I felt hollow, like someone had scooped out everything inside me with a cold metal spoon. Dad told us the whole story. Not dramatically, not emotionally, just quietly. He met Evan's mom during a period when he and Mom were fighting a lot. He didn't plan the double life, but he also never stopped it. He lived two lives because it felt easier than ending either. That sentence burned itself into my memory. He said he loved us. He said he loved them too. And he didn't know how to live without either family. He thought he could maintain it forever. Then Evan started asking questions. Then their moms started demanding the truth. Then everything became too heavy to juggle. So he ran. He told us he disappeared from them because I had to choose eventually, and I chose you. Mom whispered, "You didn't choose us, you cheated for us, and you cheated on us. You chose nobody." Dad cried. I had never seen him cry in my life. He looked like a boy, not a father, a terrified boy whose lies had finally suffocated him. Mom locked herself in the bedroom. I sat in the living room with the silence pressing against my ears.
Dad kept repeating, "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry." But the apology forced open a door I wished had stayed shut. The next day, Mom asked Dad to leave the house. He packed a bag and walked out without arguing. He looked smaller somehow, like someone had drained the air out of him. Mom wouldn't speak to me for days. Not because she was angry at me, but because she was shattered. I went to see a therapist. I told her I didn't know who I was anymore. She said something I can't forget. When a parent lies, the child questions their entire identity. Your mind is trying to rebuild the story of your life from scratch. That's exactly what it felt like, a demolition site inside my head. I kept placing childhood memories like puzzle pieces and asking, was he lying here too? Was he texting them during this birthday? Was he missing from this event because he was with them? It consumed me. I started messaging Evan regularly. We talked about our childhoods, our similarities, our differences, the weird ways Dad loved us both, but never fully showed up for either. We became close, closer than I expected. He was the only person who understood the bizarre pain of having a father who loved two families in two different universes. One night he said, "I'm glad you answered. I thought you might hate me." I said, "I don't hate you. I hate him." He replied, "Yeah, me too." The worst part. A month after the truth came out, Dad asked to meet me alone. We sat at a park.
No eye contact, just silence and birds and dry leaves scratching the pavement. He said, "I know you hate me, but I want you to know something." I didn't speak. He said, "I stayed with your mom because I wanted you to have a normal family. I didn't want you growing up in chaos." I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was twisted. He continued, "I never meant to hurt anyone. I just didn't know how to stop." I looked at him and asked, "Did you ever consider telling the truth?" He shook his head. "No, because then I'd lose everything." I told him, "You didn't lose everything. You destroyed everything." He cried again. I didn't. I felt too numb to feel anything. He asked me if he could fix things. Fix? How do you fix your entire life being a lie? How do you fix a second family? How do you fix a mother's heart? How do you fix two sons realizing they were interchangeable pieces of his double life? I told him, the only thing you can do now is stop lying. He nodded. Then he said something that broke me open. "I think I'm a coward." I said, "I know. It's been 3 months. Mom filed for divorce. Dad moved into a small apartment across town. He still messages me sometimes. 'How are you? Need anything? Thinking of you.' I rarely reply. Not because I don't love him, but because I don't know how to love someone I don't recognize." My relationship with Evan grew strangely strong, not in a forced way, but in a natural, we survived the same explosion way. He's my brother. Not by choice, but by truth. We talk weekly. We joke. We share old stories. We fill in the blanks of each other's lives. Sometimes I think we were meant to know each other earlier, but Dad stole that from both of us. The hardest part is this. Dad kept 2 families for 22 years. But in the end, he lost both. People think betrayal is sharp, like a knife. But sometimes it's dull, heavy, slow. It spreads through your life like fog, covering every memory until you can't see which ones are real. I'm still learning how to breathe in this new version of my life. Still learning how to rebuild the story of who I am without the lie my father built around me. I don't know if he'll ever earn forgiveness. I don't know if I'll ever fully trust him again. But I do know this. The truth doesn't set you free. It shatters you, so you can decide what to rebuild and what to leave buried.